Hi everyone, welcome to this class. Here we will study about a microwave and a rotational spectroscopy. Okay, and this spectroscopy is prepared in two parts. In first part we will learn about a microwave rotational spectroscopy, or this is also called a rotational spectroscopy. Okay, why this is also called rotational spectroscopy? Because we will know the spectra of a rotating molecule in a microwave region. So in this class we will learn about principle of a microwave spectroscopy, or what is a microwave spectroscopy. Then we will learn condition for obtaining the microwave spectra, or we will also know whether the molecule is a microwave active or inactive based on some rules. Then we will understand the moment of inertia and its importance in a microwave spectroscopy. Then we will also learn some terminology and parameters related to rotational spectroscopy or a microwave spectroscopy. Then we will also know what is a linear ridge rotator and how it is classified according to a moment of inertia of the molecules in a different axis. Then we will understand the rotational energy of a rigid rotator diatomic molecule, and we will consider these linear rigid rotator diatomic molecules as a ideal molecule for determination of energy, and we will understand allowed rotational energy of a linear rigid diatomic molecules, and we will know what is the selection rule, and based on the selection rule we will draw the spectrum of any rotating molecules, and finally we will learn or solve some numerical problems based on a rotational energy of a rigid rotated diatomic molecules. And there are several that numerical problem has been asked in a previous examination. So now here we will know what is a principle, or what is a microwave spectroscopy. So there will be a short type question. Okay, what is a microwave spectroscopy or rotational spectroscopy, or write the principle of a microwave spectroscopy. Okay, before defining microwave spectroscopy, okay, I will let you know what is a spectroscopy and how this spectroscopy are classified into a different spectroscopy. Okay, so first these are the example of a molecular spectroscopy. Okay, so like X-ray spectroscopy, UV visible, infrared spectroscopy, microwave spectroscopy, and NMR spectroscopy. This spectroscopy is called as a molecular spectroscopy because the molecules, okay, interact with a different electromagnetic radiation. Okay, and with the help of this molecular spectroscopy we can determine or characterize the molecules or chemical substance present in a given unknown samples. Okay, then how these different spectroscopy are different? How we can say a UV visible, infrared, microwave, or NMR? So how these are the difference? Okay, so generally if you will talk about a X-ray spectroscopy, okay, then the difference of the electromagnetic radiation, okay, the difference of a electromagnetic radiation. So how, suppose if you want to study X-ray spectroscopy, then you have to use the frequency range above the 10 to the power 17 hertz of the frequency of electromagnetic radiation will irradiate on the samples. Okay. Similarly for UV visible, so these are the frequency range for the different spectroscopic technique. Okay. So generally we will know that that UV visible spectroscopy, okay, where the electromagnetic radiation fall under 200 to 800 nanometer wavelength of radiation. And if we will talk about in the terms of the frequency, then it will be 10 to the power 15 to 10 to the power 17 hertz frequency of electromagnetic radiation. Okay, will be used for a determination of molecules in a UV visible spectroscopy. Okay, so now in this lecture, okay, we should know what is the principle of a microwave spectroscopy. So in microwave spectroscopy, so generally the wavelength of electromagnetic radiation in microwave spectroscopy in the region of a 1 to 10 centimeter, okay, per centimeter, and the frequency used will be either 10 to the power 9 to 10 to the power 11 hertz or 1 to 1000 gigahertz frequency of a electromagnetic radiation, okay, interact with the molecules which are rotating. Okay, and so after the interaction of this electromagnetic radiation, there is change in the rotational energy level of a molecules, and that change will cause the reason for obtaining this type of a spectrum. Okay, so here we should also know what is the difference between a spectrum and a spectra. So spectrum is a singular form and spectra is a plural. Okay, so now we have obtained single data, so that is called spectrum, and when we will obtain a multiple spectrum, then it will be called as a spectra. So with the help of this microwave spectroscopy, okay, we can determine the chemical substance present in a unknown samples, and the molecules which are rotating, okay, are classified into different categories. Okay, so that may be, so this will be called as a linear rigid rotator diatomic molecules. So in coming slides we will know what is mean by linear rigid rotator diatomic molecules. So this is a rotation of a triatomic molecules. Example may be water. Okay, and we have these are the polyatomic molecules, and based on that one we can know the chemical composition of a samples. Okay, from a unknown samples. Okay, then okay. So here we will learn what is a linear rigid rotator diatomic molecules. So in microwave spectroscopy we will consider this molecule as a ideal molecule. Okay, because this will simplify the energy derivation or some of the terms used in this microwave spectroscopy. And here, what is a linear rigid rotator diatomic molecule? So diatomic molecule is consisting of two atoms. Okay, so there are two atoms of mass m1 and m2, and it should be present in a straight line. Linear means it should be the atoms in a molecule should be in straight line, and the bond length between two atoms is fixed. It should not change its position during the rotation or a internal motion of a molecule with a specific distance. Then here we should also know the molecule should display a rotational spectrum. It should possess a permanent dipole moment. So here we will know what is a dipole moment and how this dipole moment change during the rotation. So we will take the simple example of a HCl, hydrochloric acid. we know that this HCl is made up of a chlorine and a hydrogen. Okay, so this is a hydrogen and this is a chlorine. Okay, and it is separated by some that distance. Okay, or this is some specific bond length is present, and it is a R. And here, so this is a polar molecule. Okay, and the polar molecule has probability to create a partial charge on its surface. So chlorine will cause the negative partial charge, and that hydrogen will cause the positive partial charge. So that we can call as a polar molecules, and these molecules having a dipole moment, because the dipole moment is a product of a charge and the length, okay, are separated by two atoms in a linear rigid rotator diatomic molecules. Okay, then in the molecule should be microwave active in a in rotational spectroscopy. How? So in the dipole moment, the molecules should change their the magnitude or their rotation during the rotation of the molecules. It changed the direction. Then only we can say the rotating molecules changing their dipole moment. So here, and also the dipole moment is a vector quantity. Okay, so vector quantity means that it has a direction. So we can generally draw this vector quantity from a partial positive charge to partial negative charge. Okay, so in this graph we will see how the dipole moment changing when we rotating the molecule. Okay, so suppose if we place this molecule here, so this is a positive end of the hydrogen and this is a negative end of the chlorine, and when we will do the clockwise rotation of the molecule, okay, so here what we are observing, we are seeing there is change. Okay, there is change in the dipole moment. Okay, in the molecules. That means during the rotation of the molecules, it change its dipole moment, but it's not changing its magnitude, because the magnitude depends upon the charge and the length. So during the rotation, the length between two atoms is not changing. So here we can say the direction, the changing of the direction change the dipole moment. Okay, so this is a very important part of microwave spectroscopy, whether the molecule is a microwave active or inactive. Then another point, okay, the frequency of electric field of rotating molecule should match with the microwave radiation. So for condition of obtaining microwave or a rotational spectra of any unknown molecule, okay, from an unknown sample. So first condition is the molecule should possess permanent dipole moment. That means that during the rotation of the molecules, the magnitude, either magnitude or its direction, vector quantity should be changed. So we have observed, so there is a change in the vector quantity of a dipole moment, okay, during the rotation. So first condition of a microwave spectroscopy we have been fulfilled. Now another point is the frequency of electric field of rotating molecule should match with the microwave radiation. Now in microwave spectroscopy, that molecules, okay, molecules getting rotate in a different direction. Okay, now suppose this rotating molecule changing its dipole moment. Okay, so it will produce electric field, its own electric field. Okay, and if any rotating molecules are producing the electric field, okay, and it has a specific frequency, okay, specific frequency, then now the electromagnetic radiation fall on the molecules. Then that time the frequency of this moving body and the microwave radiation frequency should be matched. Okay, then only we will get the microwave spectra or a rotational spectra of a molecules. So we can say there should be the compatibility between a electromagnetic radiation and the frequency produced by the rotating molecule. Then another is a like HCl, nitric oxide, carbon monoxide, H2O possess permanent dipole moment, because these are the we can say polar molecules are hetero molecules, and these molecules are microwave active in a microwave spectroscopy. Then like homonuclear molecules like oxygen, water, chlorine, bromine, they do not possess a permanent dipole moment. So these are the non-polar molecules. So when these non-polar molecules rotate, so it will not produce its own electric field, because there is no change in dipole moment during the rotation. Okay, so when we are passing the electromagnetic radiation on rotating molecules, so there will be no match with the frequency of radiation. So we will not able to obtain, okay, microwave spectra of the molecule. Now here we will learn some terms, okay, some terms related to the microwave spectroscopy. Here we should know the linear velocity, angular velocity of the molecules, okay, rotating molecules. So now we will place our molecules, okay, on the circle, and we will start to rotate, okay, Then here we should know where is the direction of a linear velocity and where is the direction of a angular velocity. Okay, so now we have molecules and we will try to rotate because in microwave spectroscopy molecules are rotating. Okay, so now the linear velocity will be the direction of linear velocity will be if we draw tangent to any part of the circle, then that will show the linear velocity, and this is the direction for a angular angular velocity of a rotating molecules. And if we want to know the angular momentum, so angular momentum is perpendicular to the angular velocity. So suppose this molecule is rotating, okay, in direction. So the direction of the angular velocity will be upward. Okay, so it is based on the thumb rule. Okay, and if it is rotating in opposite direction, so the angular momentum will be downwards. So the angular momentum depends upon the rotation of the molecules. Okay, axis of a rotation of the molecules. Now, so now we will know what is the moment of inertia. Okay, so this moment of inertia is a very important part of this spectroscopy because based on moment of inertia we will classify the rotating molecules, okay, in a space. So here how we will understand what is the moment of inertia and it's important in a microwave spectroscopy. So moment of inertia is also called as mass of a moment of inertia, which measure of an object which resist the change in its rotation. So that is called moment of inertia. So generally moment of inertia related to the mass of the body. What mass of the body? The molecule. Okay, the molecules consist of two atoms. So suppose if you want to understand the moment of an inertia, okay, of a molecule. Suppose we have considered this diatomic molecules on a plane, and we will now started to rotate that molecule on a plane. So when we will apply some force on that molecules, okay, so this molecule itself, okay, resist the rotation, okay, that force I am applying on it. So that is called moment of inertia, okay. So the moment of inertia is a resistance of a body when we started to rotate any molecule or any system. Or in another way, we can say the amount of torque, okay, force that required to rotate any molecule on any axis. So that is called the moment of inertia. And the formula for moment of inertia is I equal to m r square. So m is the mass of body and r is the distance between the two atoms in a diatomic molecule. Okay. So this is case for a diatomic molecule. Okay. If your molecule is a polyatomic, means that it consists of more than two atoms, then the general formula for a moment of inertia will be I equal to summation of m I Ri square. So Mi is a number of different, okay, masses of atoms or elements present in a molecule, and Ri is the distance between a different bond length between different atoms in the molecules. So that is called the moment of inertia of molecules. So now we have understand what is a moment of inertia and how we can determine moment of inertia of any molecule, that may be linear molecule or a diatomic molecule. So now we will started to know the moment of inertia of a molecules when we are rotating. So as we know that in microwave spectroscopy we will get the spectra of a rotating molecule, okay, rotating molecule, and the molecule may be rotate in a different axis. Okay, so here we want to know or understand the moment of inertia, because the molecule is rotating in a space, and space we have to consider in a three direction, x, y, and z direction. Okay, now here we will consider a simple molecule. Okay, so here we must learn what is a Ia, what is a Ib, and what is a Ic. I means moment of inertia. Okay, and Ia. So there are so in this spectroscopy we will consider, okay, the rotation of molecule in a three axes. Okay, so the first axis. So now we have put this is our linear diatomic molecules. Okay, this is the linear diatomic molecules. Now, so one way for a rotation of the molecules along the bond axis, that is end to end, that is called end to end rotation of a molecule, okay, through the bond axis. So this will be called as a Ia. Okay, so this is for our simplification we will symbolize the rotation of molecules along the bond axis as a Ia. That means the moment of inertia, okay, the moment of inertia that required, okay, for the molecule to rotate along the bond axis, that will be Ia. Okay, so now, okay, and then what may be the another way? So this is a plane, Ia is a plane, and we can rotate our molecule, okay, on the plane. And here again the amount of inertia that required to rotate the molecule on a plane. So that we will symbolize as a IP, moment of inertia, while the rotation of molecules along the plane. Okay, and that's IC will be, now we can, so this is the one way to rotate the molecules along the bond axis. Another way is on the plane, and third one is on a perpendicular. So that we will consider IC, moment of inertia that required to rotate the molecules perpendicular onto the plane. Okay, so these three, okay, three like IA, IB, IC, the moment of inertia in a different axis we should know. Then only we can classify the molecule. So this is a simple example of SCA. Okay, so here we will see the magnitude. Okay, here we will understand the magnitude of a moment of inertia. Okay, so we should know the value of moment of inertia while rotation of this molecule in a different axis, like a bond axis, on a plane, and a perpendicular. So here, so now we can put this molecule here, and now we will start to rotate that molecule. Okay, here the bond between two atoms is a fixed. So here that when we started to rotate that molecule along the bond axis, so it requires very less amount of inertia, okay, or force to rotate that molecules. Okay, and when here in a rotational spectroscopy or microwave spectroscopy, there is a change, okay, in the orientation of the molecule. Okay, there should be change in the orientation of molecules. Then only we will get the microwave active compound. Okay, so here how we will understand. So in the bond axis, the orientation of the molecule is not changing, but when you rotating the molecule, the orientation of the molecule, orientation means the position. Okay, the position of atoms in the molecules are changing. Okay, so based on that one, we can say that a moment of inertia in a bond axis is very less, and that we should consider negligible or a zero. Okay, when you rotate that molecule along the bond axis. What about IB and IC? So when we rotate the molecules on the plane or perpendicular to the plane, so we need more amount of a force, okay, to rotate that molecules. So then, and along the bond axis and on the plane, we need a same amount of force or moment of inertia to rotate that molecules. So that means IB equal to IC, and I equal to 0. So for the molecules which are linear rotated molecules like HCl or OCS, acetylene, and carbon dioxide. So that molecules, the moment of inertia in a bond axis is 0, and the moment of inertia on a plane and a perpendicular direction are equal. Okay. Then next, symmetric top rotator. Okay, so symmetric top rotator, we will take the example of this methyl chloride. Okay, methyl chloride. So here, why it is called symmetric top? Because we will replace one hydrogen atom to the fluorine atom. Okay, so now here we will see the moment of inertia, okay, in a different axis on a when you will rotate the molecule along the bond axis on the plane and perpendicular the direction. So here we can see this is a animated video of the methyl chloride molecule. Okay, so this video showing the rotation of molecule. Okay. Along the bond axis, okay, along the bond axis, the bond between a carbon and fluorine is not changing. Okay, here. So this is so here we are rotating the methyl chloride along the bond axis. So here we can see because the position of here the position between the carbon and chlorine is not changing, but the orientation, okay, or position of the hydrogen present in the molecule is changing. So that means we need some force or moment of inertia to rotate that molecule. So here that means I is not equal to 0. Like previously we have seen for a linear rotated diatomic molecule where I equal to 0. Okay. Now we have this condition. Okay. Now so this is a one condition. Okay. This is a one condition for rotation of the molecule. Okay. Now if you want to rotate this molecule on the plane. Okay. So here so if you rotate this one is a if we are rotating this way, so this is a bond axis, but we will rotate like that. Okay, so we have some axis like here IB, and if I am rotating that molecules, all the atoms, okay, all the atoms present in this molecule is changing, okay, their position. Okay, so here, okay, that is IB, and we will so this is a so suppose this is a one way to rotate the molecule. So this is a bond axis. Another way is this way. Okay. If you want to rotate the molecule bond axis, and if you will take another axis, then the change there will be change in the orientation of the molecule. So similarly, the IB equal to IC, and that will be not equal to IA. Means the moment of inertia in on the plane and along the perpendicular are equal, but it is not equal to moment of inertia along the bond axis. Okay, so there are two conditions. Okay, there are two conditions for this symmetric top rotators. Means the condition for a moment of inertia for the molecules. Okay, so here, so this if you are rotating the this methyl chloride, okay, methyl chloride. So we need, okay. So there are three types of rotation, okay, and that is when you rotate the molecule along the plane and perpendicular are equal, okay, and that should be greater than a bond axis. That means we need more amount of moment of inertia, okay, for rotating the symmetric top molecules compared to the rotating the molecule along the bond axis. Okay. Then another condition, okay, for BCl3, because here the atoms attached to the carbons are heavier than the carbon, and here the condition will be different. Okay, here we need more moment of inertia, okay, for a rotation of the molecules along the bond axis compared to the rotation along the plane and a perpendicular direction. And when we need more amount of moment of inertia in a plane and perpendicular compared to the bond axis, then that time the molecule is called prolate, and the condition is IB equal to IC but less than IA. Then that time the molecule will be called as a oblate. Okay. So now this is the third type of molecules. Okay, means when that molecules are getting rotating. So this is a third type of molecules. So this type of molecules are called a spherical top rotator. And example is a methane and HISO4 and sulfur hexafluoride. Okay. So here we can see So these are the different axes. Okay, different axes for a moment of inertia I B I C. Okay. So now for this molecules, so now suppose this molecule is a rotating in the direction of a bond axis. Okay, bond axis. And if suppose so we take the example of this molecule. So suppose if we rotate this molecule in this direction, this is bond axis, and if we rotate this molecule in the plane or a perpendicular, so there is a no change. Okay, there is no change in the orientation of the molecules, because the atoms present in the molecule is symmetry. So there will be cancelling of dipole moment. Okay, and if there will be no dipole moment in the molecules, so it will be microwave inactive. So in this condition, we have this one. This time we have all the moment of inertia in all direction in a bond axis, plane, and perpendicular are equal. So if the moment of inertia in three axes are same, then that time molecule is a microwave inactive. Means it will not give spectra in the microwave radiation. So this is a last example of a rotating molecules. So these molecules are called asymmetric dark rotators. And examples are water, methanol, vinyl chloride, and formaldehyde. Okay. So this is a water molecules, and it is attached with the that is a heavier atom oxygen and two hydrogen atom. Okay. Now so this we will consider water molecule. So this is the oxygen and two hydrogen atom, and so this is a rotation of molecules along the bond axis. So this will be the center of gravity of a molecule. Okay. So this will the molecule is rotating along the bond axis. Okay, and that is a moment of inertia IA, and this is the rotation of molecules along the plane. Okay, and this is a perpendicular. So in this scenario, if you want to see this rotation of the molecules, so here we will get this condition: IA is not equal to IB, and it is not equal to IC. So in the different rotation axis, the moment of inertia will be different. Okay, so this is a microwave active. Okay, microwave active, and so water. Okay, H2O is a microwave active. Okay, microwave active molecule in a rotational spectroscopy. So we will not take this water as a solvent. Okay, for taking the spectrum of a different chemical substance in a microwave spectroscopy. Okay. So now we have understand the condition. Okay, condition for obtaining a moment of inertia for a different types of molecules. Okay, that getting rotating in a space. Okay, now we will know the formula for calculating the moment of inertia for a molecule, for a linear regulator diatomic molecule. Okay, so as we know, the linear regulator diatomic molecule is consist of two masses, M1 and M2. And suppose this M1 is a heavier mass. Okay, heavier mass of any atom, and this is a having a less mass. Then the center of gravity between the two atoms in the molecule is towards the heavier mass. At that center of gravity, the mass of the two atoms will be equal. And suppose this will be the distance between R1 okay, you will take the R1, the center of gravity of this molecule, and R2, this is the distance of the center of gravity to the mass M2, and the distance between two atom in the molecule will be considered as a R0. R0 is also called as a equilibrium distance. Okay, equilibrium distance. So we know that for a linear physics diatomic molecule, the IB equal to IC and IA equal to 0, and C is the center of gravity. M1 and M2 are masses of a atom. So based on that one, how we can determine the moment of inertia of the molecule? We know at center of gravity the M1 into R1 into R2. So their masses are equal at the center of gravity. Then we will take M1. M1 equal to M2 R2 divided by R1. Similarly, M2 equal to M1 into R1 divided by R2. Then moment of inertia. So the formula is a I equal to M1 into R1 square plus M2 into R2 square. Okay. Now, putting the equation, we know that M1 equal to M2 R2 by R1. So we will put the value of M1 here. That equation will become, okay, M2 into R2 divided by R1 into R1 square plus M1 R1 divided by R2 into R2 square. R1 and R1 square. One R1 square will be cancelled here, one R2 square will be cancelled. Now I equal to M1 R1 into R2 plus M2 R1 R2. Then we will take R1 and R2 as a common. Okay. Then it will become I equal to R1 into R2. Okay. Into M1 plus M2. Now at the center of gravity, we know that M1 equal to M1 R1 equal to M2 R2. Okay. We also know. Okay. We also know R0 equal to R1 plus R2. Okay. Here we can know R0 equal is the total distance between the two atoms. Okay. And this will become R1 equal to R1 plus R2 equal to R0. Then it will be R2. We will then it will R0 minus R1. Okay. Then we will put this values, the values of a R2 here, the values of R2 here. Then it will be M1 R1 same. Then M2 will be here. We will put the values of a R2. Okay. So then it will be M1 R1 equal to M2 R2 minus M2 R1. Then we will take this M2 R1 this side. So it will be M1 into R1 plus M2 R1 equal to M2 R0. Then we will take the R1 common. Okay. So then here based on this one we will get the R1 equal to M2 R0 divided by M1 plus M2 and similarly R2 equal to M1 R0 by M1 plus M2. Putting the values in the equation 3, it will become, okay, that we know that in the previous equation, in this equation, we will put the values of R1 and R2. Then it will be I equal to M2 R0 divided by M1 plus M2 into M1 R0 by M1 plus M2 into M1 plus M2. Okay. Then I equal to there will be M1 and M1 M1 plus M2 will be cancelled. Then we will have a M1 we will have a M1 M2 and this will be M1 plus M2 into R0 square. Okay. Then finally we have an I equal to mu into R0 square. So this is the equation. Okay. This is the equation for determining the moment of inertia for any rotating molecules. And the unit of the moment of inertia is a kg meter I square. And with this value we can determine how much amount of a moment of inertia required to rotate the molecules in a different axis based on the classification of a molecule. Okay. So now we have understand how to calculate the moment of inertia of a molecules, and also how to calculate the that reduced. So here that mu is a reduced mass. So if here we have learned two things. Here first thing we have learned how to calculate the moment of inertia of a rotating molecule in a different axis. Another point we have learned the reduced mass. So suppose if any molecule is rotating, okay, so there is a reduction in the mass of a actual molecule, okay, in the space. Now here we will learn the rotational energy of a linear recuperator diatomic molecules, okay. So this one, okay, to understand the energy for a linear recuperator diatomic molecule is very important, and based on that is the Schrödinger gave the equation for the energy of a linear recuperator diatomic molecule. Ej equal to h pi square 8 pi into I into j plus 1. So it is in the form of joule, okay, where Ej is a rotational energy of a recuperator in joules. J is a rotational quantum number, and the J may be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I is a moment of inertia, and we have already know that it is a mu into R square, and mu equal to reduced mass, and R is a internuclear distance or bond length between two atoms. So this is the energy for a linear recuperator diatomic molecules. So now in microwave spectroscopy we have to convert this joule into the per centimeter, and we know that that energy equal to h nu. Okay, h is Planck constant, and nu is a frequency, and we know that frequency equal to c into lambda. C is the speed of light and wavelength of radiation. Then we know that 1 by lambda equal to a nu bar, okay, nu bar, or that is called wave number. Then we can write this equation Ej, and we can write in the place of nu c into v bar, okay. Then v bar equal to Ej by hc. Then we will convert, okay, this joule into wave number. So that will be the epsilon j. When we will convert the energy from joule to wave number, then we will write instead of capital E, we will write the epsilon j equal to that is Ej, the energy in the joule divided by Sc. So the simple thing, if you want to convert the energy of any rotating molecule or vibrating molecule, then we have to just divide that Ej or joule by hc, okay. Then we know that here Ej equal to h square 8 pi I, and we have to multiply by hc into j plus 1. Then here h will be cancelled. Epsilon j equal to h by 8 pi ic j into j plus 1, okay, per centimeter. Then we will take that as a constant, and that we will consider as a rotational constant b. So finally we have epsilon j equal to bj into j plus 1, okay, per centimeter, and b is a rotational constant. So here we have derived the energy of a linear recuperator molecule in the form of joule and a wave number, okay. And if we know, okay, if we know the value of B, okay, means the energy of rotating molecules, okay, and then we can determine the moment of inertia, okay, moment of inertia of the molecule. And if we know the I, moment of inertia of molecule, then we can determine the B. B is a is a rotational constant, and it is a relate with the rotational energy in terms of a wave number. Then now we have the energy of a rotating molecules in a form of wave number. Okay. Now we will know what is a selection rule. Okay. So selection rule. Okay. So generally, selection rule for spectroscopy refer to the condition that tells about the transition that are possible allowed amongst the quantized energy level. So in simple way, we can define the selection rule is a allowed electronic transition. Okay, allowed electronic transition of the quantized energy level. Okay, and here for rotational spectroscopy or microwave spectroscopy, the selection rule is a del J equal to plus minus 1. So this is a quantized energy state of a rotating molecule. Okay, rotating molecules, plus showing the absorption of molecule and a negative sign showing the emission of a molecule. Now we know that J, the value, what is the J? J is a rotational quantum number, and the J will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And here, okay, so these are the allowed electronic transition from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, or 3 to 4, 4 to 5. So these are called allowed transition. Okay, and we should also know the forbidden. Okay, forbidden transition. So forbidden transition means 0 to 2. It is a forbidden, or 1 to 3 is forbidden, like 2 to 5. So these are the forbidden electronic transition. Okay, so we should know what is a allowed electronic transition and what is a forbidden. So forbidden means it is not possible, because we have to do the electronic transition plus minus. Okay, so it will be upward direction, or it will be 3 to 2, or 2 to 1, or 1 to 0. Okay, in a minus sign. Then if you will change the value of J, so we know that J is a that is a rotational quantum number, and it is a it tells the different energy level. Okay, the different energy level in a rotational spectroscopy. So when we will change the value of a J, so what will be the value of a energy? Okay, what will be the energy of the molecules in a different state? When J equal to 0, the epsilon equal to 0. Okay, so here we will put the value of J. So B into 0 plus 1, so it will be 0. When we will put J equal to 1, then it will be 2B. And when J equal to 2, it will be 6B. Okay. And we will put when J equal to 3, it will be 12B. So the energy, okay. So the energy in terms of wave number, it is a changing or a increasing. Okay. Now based on that one, we have a allowed rotational energy of a rigid predator diatomic molecules, and there will be question. Okay. So what are the questions that can be arise in this energy or a selection rule? So what is a selection rule? Okay, and derive the equation for a energy for a rigid predator diatomic molecules, and also write the allowed rotational energy of a rigid predator diatomic molecule. So when we will put like for J equal to 0, that is 0, 2B, 6B, 12B. So we will put these values of a epsilon J with a different J values. Okay. Then what will be the change? Okay. So here we will know the change in the energy between two different levels. So generally we know the molecules in a ground state. Okay. So generally when the molecules in a J equal to 0, So the value what it is coming, Ej equal to 0. So that means molecule is a not rotating. Okay, so the molecule is a not rotating. Okay, so when you will give microwave radiation to the rotating molecules, okay, then what is happening? The molecules which are in a J state, it goes to one state, okay, and one state will goes to two to three, because based on the selection. Then if you will calculate the difference in the energy between a different J state, suppose maybe a transition is from J0 to J1, then the difference will be 2b minus 0, then it is a 2b. Okay, so the difference in the energy is a 2b. When there is electronic transition of J1 to J2, it is coming 4b. Okay, and when there is a transition in J2 to J3, so it is a 6b. Okay, and what is the difference between this level 2b to 4b, 6b? So there is a 2b difference, okay, in the spectrum, and based on that one, the energy difference between different energy level in a rotational spectroscopy, we can draw a spec. Okay, so this is general equation. Okay, general equation for the electron transition of molecules in a rotational state. So the common equation is a 2b into J plus 1. Okay, 2b J plus 1, and based on that one, we will draw the spectrum of a rotational spectroscopy. So this is a theoretical, okay, theoretical spectrum of a linear rigid diatomic molecules. So there will be another question. Okay, write the alert transition between the energy level of a different diatomic molecules. So that previously we have drawn, and this is a spectrum arise from that different energy level. Okay. So and the difference between two lines in the spectrum is a 2b. Now this is the spectrum. Okay, so this is a absorbed. Okay, so the previous one is a theoretical spectrum of a linear rigid diatomic molecule. So this is the actual spectrum of a SCl. If you will put the SCl molecule into the microwave spectroscopy, so we will get this type of a spectrum for this molecule. So this will give the difference is a 21.2, and we know the difference is a 2b. So 2b equal to 21.2. So b equal to 10.1 centimeter. And if you will know the value of the value of b, then we can determine the moment of inertia. Okay, moment of inertia, and if you will determine the moment of inertia, we know the mass of hydrogen, we know the mass of chlorine, we can determine the bond length between two atoms. Okay, in the molecule. So finally, we will solve one numerical problem. Okay, that may be can be asked. Okay, in a coming sessional or semester examination. So here the question is, the first rotational line in the rotational spectrum of the carbon monoxide is observed to 3.8423 per centimeter. So here 2b equal to 3.8423. Okay, and calculate the rotational constant. We have to calculate the rotational constant b. So b equal to क्या होता है h 8 pi I c. Okay, we will see, and the masses are given 12 or 15, and expected mass is 1.6 and 2. Okay, so we know these values. Okay, so here the electronic transition is from first rotational line, means 0 to 1 is called first rotational line. Second rotational line, if there is a second rotational line, means 1 to 2. Third means 2 to 3. Okay, first one is 0 to 1. So the value of b equal to 1.9218. Okay, then we know that we want to calculate the moment of inertia of a carbon monoxide. We know that we know B equal to h by 8 pi square IC. Then I equal to h by 8 pi BC. Okay. Then we will put the values. We know the h, we know the B, okay, and we know the C. C is the constant for a velocity of a light. So we will put the values, and the moment of inertia for a carbon monoxide will be 14.5695 into 10 to the power 47 kg meter cube. So that is a unit of a moment of inertia. Okay. Now we will calculate the moment of inertia. Okay. And so we will calculate m1 and m2 divided by m1 plus m2. And if we will solve, we can get a moment of reduced mass for carbon monoxide will be 11.38365 kg. Okay. Now, so now we know that reduced mass, and we know the moment of inertia for carbon monoxide. So based on that one, we know I equal to mu into r square, and we can calculate the bond length. So that will be moment of inertia of carbon monoxide divided by reduced mass of carbon monoxide. Then 14.5695 divided by 11.365. Then it will be it is coming 1.2799. Okay. 10 to the power minus 20 meter I square. Now we have to calculate R. R is coming, it is around it is coming 0.113 into 10 to the power minus 9. Okay, 10 to the power minus 9. So we know that 1 nanometer equal to 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So we can convert this one into angstrom. Okay, so generally angstrom is 10 to the power minus 10. So we have to multiply with the 10. So we can write the bond length between a carbon monoxide. Okay, so this is suppose a carbon and this is a oxygen. So the bond length between two atoms, okay, in the molecule is a 1.13 angstrom. So here we have learned, okay, application of a microwave or rotational spectroscopy. Okay, we can calculate, determine moment of inertia. Another one we can calculate the reduced mass, and another one we can determine the bond length. And we can also determine, suppose the molecule is a triatomic, okay, not linear like water, okay, V-shaped. So we can also determine the angle. Okay, so there is some formula to calculate the angle between two atoms in the molecule. Okay, so this is the end of this first part. Okay, thank you.